There is a radical ideology that is hostile towards Christianity, that is incompatible with Western fundamentals, that has swept through the East, that has swept through the continent of Africa, that has taken over all of Europe. It has entered into our shores. And if we don't have an awakening in this hour, your children are going to suffer, and so are mine.
I believe you're speaking about Islam.
Of course. The rise of Islam, radical Islam. They're very vocal on social media about their desire to take over America. And I think that it is a false sense of inclusion is why we think that we shouldn't say nothing.
Right.
Or do nothing. Right. It is this same weakness to take a stand for Christ that saw the influence of Christianity wane in the East.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people in our country think that, Christianity is a Western religion. But it's not. It's an Eastern religion.
Yes, sir.
And yet in the place where Christianity was born has been completely taken over by Islam. Right? And so when I just thinking about the people that we're putting in office, when I think about certain cities that's being taken over by that ideology, when I'm seeing a tolerance for that ideology creeping into America, and somebody will listen to this right now and say, you and I are closed-minded, that we are bigots, that we are not loving towards people outside the faith, and that is not true. I love all men, but I know we have an enemy that is working through men, and that if we don't wake up right now and sound the alarm, your children and mine are not going to recognize the United States we're living in right now. We're in trouble, Brian.
And I was thinking about my time in Israel. Watch, that while I was there, I saw a respect for God I ain't never seen before. The Jews had a reverence for Yahweh I ain't never seen before. The Christians had a reverence for Yahweh I ain't never seen before. Their gatherings were sacred. The word of God to them was sacred. The things of God were sacred. There was no playing around amongst the Christians and the Jews in Israel. They had a reverence for God that convicted me. I met a Christian Messianic Jew on the top of Mount Masada. He was in a cave and he had a scroll and an ink pen and he was writing the scriptures by hand, verse by verse, line by line. He spent 8 hours a day doing that. That was his job. And he says, if I make one mistake, I got to start from the very beginning. The word was so precious to them, not thrown on the floorboard of a car or sitting with dust on a shelf. And I seen a holiness, a reverence for God that I ain't never seen in this nation. And I flew back from that nation. I thought to myself, man, you can't be unexposed. I can't unsee what I saw. And from 2018 till now, man, I've been on this mission to warn as many people as possible that Jesus is not your homeboy. Jesus is supremely holy. And that his house should not be desecrated. And his gatherings should not be desecrated. And his name should not be desecrated.
All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to say, call halal Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak Wadash. That is to say, all praise to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, through the Holy Spirit, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who taught us this truth. Shalom to the 144,000, as well as to the rest of the hopeful righteous elect, men, women, and children of Israel, scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth, among the heathen, as well as those that even look like the heathen. All right, this is not a black or white thing. I'm the brother Yaradon Bob from the GMS branch here in Chicago, coming back at you with what I hope to be another short yet edifying lesson. All right, and this is going to be another one going in on this guy, Philip Anthony Mitchell, Pam. All right, and it's going to be entitled something to the effect of Philip Anthony Mitchell and 1619 Church is a small hat invention. Something to that effect, man. And I say 1619 Church because, he teaches that same plantation Christianity. All right? His church is really 2819, but I call it 1619 Church, man. Because they teach that same plantation Christianity. All right? And you've seen two videos at the beginning of this. The first one where he was talking about, you see it on the screen right now, he was talking about what he called radical Islam and how they're looking to take over America and this, that, and the third, right? And this is in no way, shape, form, or fashion a support of Islam or the Muslim faith, and none of that, man. We don't deal with that either. We know that that's folly as well, right? But on this hand, okay, this video shows that what, man? He said it himself. Let me try to find it real quick. Once he went to Israel, he came back with this mission that we know of as 2819 church, 1619 church, right? Right, I think this is it right here.
This nation, and I flew back from that nation. I thought to myself, man, you can't be unexposed. I can't unsee what I saw. And from 2018 till now, man, I've been on this mission to warn as many people as possible that Jesus is not your homeboy. Jesus is supremely holy, and that his house should not be desecrated, and his gatherings should not be desecrated, and his name should.
But he talked about his name and all of this. He doesn't even teach the name of the Lord, man. Right? But he said when he came back on that plane, and now he came back with this great mission. Why? Because that's where he got with his handlers, man. Now all of a sudden he came back on fire with this false doctrine that he teaches, man, with this plantation Christianity. And really he just teaches Christian nationalism, man. All right. Even here in this video somewhere, let me find that portion, and we're gonna get into a few scriptures, man. You know, he shows his partiality. Okay, let me find it real quick. Here we go.
I think a lot of people in our country think that, Christianity is a Western religion. But it's not. It's an Eastern religion.
Yes, sir.
And yet in the place where Christianity was born has been completely taken over by Islam. Right? And so when I just think
the place where Christianity is born has been completely taken over by Islam. However, Christianity started in Judea, which is taken over by the small hats, man. This shows his partiality, man. And he's made a covenant with death, man. All right? It's as simple as that, man. And if you can't see it, I don't know what to tell you, But let's go ahead and look at him in all black. He always wears all black because he's a warlock. All right? But let's get these scriptures real quick, man. I'm going to start in 1 Maccabees because this is the same thing that was happening during this time of Antiochus, man. 1 Maccabees 1:10, it says, "And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks." And this is the point right here. "In those days went there out is Salakia." 1 Maccabees 1:11. "In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen." Christianity is after the ordinances of the heathen, man. Modern day Christianity. Because truly the Israelites was first called Christians in Antioch, man. And it was a mocking term. All right. But they were just following Yahweh Shai. They were actually following the scriptures. They were keeping the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of their ability. Not in terms of it bringing them salvation, man, but it was just a way to live. This guy teaches you that you don't have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments at all, that they're done away with. He tells you about sin, but won't tell you what sin actually is. All right? This is them giving you after the ordinances of the heathen, man. It's that Aleister Crowley, do as thou wilt. Okay? You can't just, you trick people by just, you living in sin and being all emotional about it. But you won't tell people what sin actually is, man. This is the same guy that was out here telling people it's okay to celebrate Christmas and Easter, all right, which are known pagan holidays. Those are ordinances of the heathen, man. All right. But this is the same play that the heathen have always done, especially these Edomites, man. They always try to find a Negro or a Israelite, all right, and put them at the forefront and get them to do wickedly in hopes that the rest of the people would follow. It's the same thing that they did with Eleazar and the Maccabees in the time of the Maccabees, man. But he was a man with honor. He was a man with integrity, and he said, nah, So I'd rather die than to defame the Lord and to have my people follow after wickedness, man. All right. Continuing on in this first Maccabees chapter 1. Continuing on with this first Maccabees 1 and 14. It says, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant. And that's what he does, right? Hey, the Christianity, modern day Christianity, this plantation Christianity, it makes you uncircumcised in the heart, man. That's why these jakes are going to receive this same punishment of the heathen. All right, let's go to Jeremiah, the 9th chapter. Jeremiah 9 and verse 25. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will punish all them which are uncircumcised, which are circumcised with the uncircumcised, Egypt and Judah and Edom, and the children of Ammon and Moab, and all that are in the utmost corners that dwell in the wilderness. For all these nations are uncircumcised, and all the house of Israel are uncircumcised in the heart. Right? So that's what these nations do, or Slakia. That's what this plantation Christianity does, man. It makes you uncircumcised. Now, just to put the pain where it ain't, Jakes was actually making themselves uncircumcised back in the day, man. It's called an epispasm. All right, which epispasm is when they were taking foreskin and sewing it back onto their rod, man. All right, but I'm using it in a spiritual sense right now, man. These Jakes have done spiritual epispasms, man, going after the ways of the heathen. All right. First Maccabees 1 and 15, again, it says, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. And this is exactly what was happening, man. This is exactly what you see these plantation church leaders doing. All right. Some of them may be sincere, but it's a certain thing is sincerely wrong. But then you have these people like Pam who have just taken a bag. All right. And that's what they after. I don't care how much emotion you try to put behind it, man. Hey, the elect has the eyesight of the sea, man. The elect won't be deceived. All right. I want to go back here to this Jeremiah, and I'm going to go back to Jeremiah, the 5th chapter, because I had that on deck as well. Where is it at? Yep. Jeremiah chapter 5 and verse 26, it says, for among my people are found wicked men. They lay wait as he that setteth snares, they set traps, they catch men. That's exactly what this guy is doing, man. All right. All of these false doctrines that you see, man, they're snares, they're traps. All right. That the non-elect will be caught in. But at the same time, these pastors are going to be judged, man. And I'm going to get that too. I believe it's in Jeremiah. It says, as a cage is full of birds, so are their houses full of deceit. Therefore, they are become great and are waxing rich. Woo. They took that bag, man. They are waxing fat. They shine. Yea, they overpass the deeds of the wicked. They judge not the cause of the fatherless, yet they prosper. And the right of the needy do they not judge. Shall I not visit you? Salakia, shall I not visit for these things, saith the Lord Yahweh? And shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? A wonderful and horrible thing is committed in the land. The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests bear rule by their means. And my people love to have it so. And what will ye do in the end thereof? And that's these false pastors, man. And in this case, we're particularly talking about your boy Pam in 1619 church, man. All right. That plantation Christianity. That's exactly what's going on here, man. All right. And the Lord is going to visit these false pastors for that. Let me see. It's in Jeremiah. I can't remember exactly how it's worded, man. Here we go. Yep. This is exactly what I wanted. Jeremiah 23 and 1, it says, woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord Yahweh. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, power of Israel, against the pastors that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, saith the Lord Yahweh. Hey, and it's going to be a harsher judgment for these so-called leaders, man. Because the true leaders are the prophets. All right, it says that in 2nd Esdras. Let me see if I can find that. I know it's the second Esdras. I just can't remember what chapter it's. Let me see. Second Esdras 1. This is second Esdras chapter 1 in verse I start at 38. It says, and now, brother, behold what glory, and see the people that come from the east, unto whom I will give for leaders Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Osias, Amos, and Michias, Joel, Abidus, and Jonas, Nahum, and Abakuk, Sophonias, Agagus, Zechariah, Malachi, which is called an angel of the Lord. Right? So those are the leaders, man, the prophets. All right, which are the apostles and the elders of the great millstone on down, man. All right, they're the ones who are teaching directly and correctly in this time. All right, but the rest of these guys, man, is going to be bad form. All right, verse 3, it says, and I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries whither I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, saith the Lord Yahweh, man. And that's what you see is happening. All of this time of plantation Christianity, right? Hey, things were just smooth sailing, right? But as soon as the prophets came on the scene, then you start seeing prophecy truly start to jump off the page, man. These end time prophecies, right? Soon as they said that they would set their nest amongst the stars. Now here we look at where we are now from the time of the Salaki about that technical difficulty. But yeah, look at from the time of 1960 to now, man. Look at where we are. Look at how much end time prophecy has just been jumping off the page, man. Look at where we are now, seeing World War III, right? Brewing. Look at where we at now, where we see the MOTB technology being widely implemented, man. That can go live any day. That can be mandated, you know. They have the infrastructure for that to be mandated. All right? But these false pastors not warning the people about that, man. They're so busy giving you trying to distract you with everything else as a problem, then the devil that is the problem, man. He's so busy. What about the small hats that are currently running the government in America today that already have taken over? Right? What about all the small hat lobbyist groups? What about that? When you gonna talk about that? But he never will, man, because these guys have made a covenant with the heathen, as we read in that first Maccabees, man. All right. So, you know, that's it on this. Lord willing, this was edifying. With that, I'm going to say, call halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak Wadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone, man. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Kwame Sharala, Wa Abba Babal.